Hello, good evening, and welcome to another edition of the CantinaMX Podcast. My name is John Jagu. Glad to have you guys with us this evening. We are live on YouTube, on our YouTube page, the CantinaMX Podcast page, where you're listening to us now, or you can download this and our previous editions of the podcast from the Podcast Center at iTunes, as well as on Google Play. My name is John Jagu. Glad to have you with us, coming to you live from the banks of beautiful Lake Travis in western Travis County, just outside of Austin, Texas. And joining me tonight, a smaller panel than usual, but I'm sure we'll have folks join us as we always do. But we do want to mention the folks who are with us right now. Out in California, we have with us a man who is enjoying a renaissance of sorts with his Laguneros. Daniel Preciado joins us from Escondido. Daniel, how are you, sir?
Doing good, John.
What are we enjoying?
Say, hello to Beto, of course, and I'm just trying to say, it is a shortened panel for at least right now. What were you questioning? Sorry.
What are you enjoying this evening? What have you asked the bartender?
You know what? I've kind of deviated from the California craft and went with a Fat Tire.
Oh yeah, where's Fat Tire? Where's that brewed out of? Isn't that like Colorado or something?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Colorado.
I don't know why I know that.
Good
I don't know why I know that. I don't know why. Well, it's good to have you on, Dan. We'll talk a little. We'll do our weekly Santos chat.
Is there room for Santos talk this week? All right.
I think. Well, since there's just three of us, there'll be probably plenty of room for Santos talk. We can probably avoid all the Chivas talk altogether, but I'm sure we'll get into that here as well. Also joining us over in Kyle, Texas, just south of Austin, in Hays County. Albert at Chiquiscampa joins us, fresh off his European vacation. At what point, Albert, did you guys drive around and around and around Piccadilly Circus, and your kids saying, "Hey, look, Big Ben, Parliament"?
It was just a quick round. We didn't go round and around.
Yeah, you drove over. Did you drive in England too?
Yeah, we drove in England. I was driving on the left side of the car and on the left side of the road, which is unique. But
how was that?
It was okay. There's certain situations where, like left turns, of course, it's easier to be on the right side because you can see out the window.
Right.
You don't really think about it, but and also making turns. Normally I'm used to looking towards my right for oncoming. And so you got to switch the mindset. So there's some tricky things you got to do, but it was no problem.
I see.
But yeah, it was fun driving all over the place, checking out different sites, but tiring in the end. But it was worth it. It was a good time.
Well, I'm glad that you're back now. I know that you were hoping to see West Ham play Manchester United, but Manchester United went on and stayed alive in the FA Cup, so they postponed the match till a later date in April. So you were not able to catch that match in London. I know that you were hoping to make that happen, but it did not happen for you.
Yeah, I was actually gonna try to catch a QPR Fulham game, but the schedule was tight, and then we woke up Saturday morning. It was all snowing. So it'd have been a chilly day.
Right.
A championship game. I've had a friend tell me that those are pretty entertaining as well.
Pretty intense. Yeah, they absolutely are. It's they are. There's no question. I mean, I've always maintained that the championship is probably like the fourth or fifth best league in Europe, to be honest with you. I mean, it is a first division, but I mean, it's not like they don't have any money or anything like that. I mean, it's very competitive. It's 24 teams, and it's crazy competitive compared to the other leagues, because I mean there's so many teams that are that have the opportunity. I mean to make it, and then it is absolutely crazy. It is a lot of fun to watch. Well, we're glad to have you with us. Now I know that we will have. I was hoping that Profe Cambiarrayas will come on, and he might come on a little bit later. Who, if I'm not mistaken, is actually in Santa Clara tonight. observing the Mexican national team. I know that he'll be in the press box representing Soccer Chronicle and the CantinaMX podcast tomorrow. So we'll get hopefully we'll get his full report on what transpires between Mexico and Iceland. Mexico will be playing Iceland tomorrow up in the Bay Area, and then Tuesday over at Jerry's place they will be playing Croatia. Chiquis, are you going to the game on Tuesday?
No, I got to travel to Chicago, so unfortunately I won't be able to make that one. Or I was planning on going. I think I even got approved, I believe. But
you should probably let them know that you that you're not going to make it, because if you do that and don't show up, they don't take too kindly to that. So you may want to let them know that you had to. Your day job is precluding you from making. I unfortunately can't make it either, but I didn't apply. I'm actually working a Longhorn Network broadcast that night, so I will be unavailable to attend the match over at Jerry's place, where Mexico will be playing Croatia. Now, as we discussed last week, there are 28 players that are. I guess it's down to like 26 now, because I think there've been some injuries. Players that are on the call up. Outside of maybe the Dos Santos brothers who aren't there, I just don't see how anybody who isn't part of this list of let's say 30 people are going to be in contention to make the World Cup squad. And the reality is that, I mean, if you look at the list, I mean, there's probably 18 or 19 spots that are already secure. So there's really, a group of about 10 guys fighting for 4 spots. And I'm not sure if that's going to be decided over the next 2 friendlies, but it is something that we will definitely be keeping an eye on. It's something that we do here on a month-to-month basis to see who's in, who's out on the 23, and sadly, and I think that all of us in agreement. I mean, there really hasn't been anybody, at least in the local league, in Liga MX, who has acquitted himself to the point where he's meriting absolute necessity for national team consideration. I mean, sadly, there really just hasn't been anybody tearing it up. At least any of the locals tearing it up in Liga MX. So there isn't going to be any kind of crazy surprise on the list. So we will go through that. But I do hear that that shuffle, and that can only mean one thing, and that means that Joel Aceves joins us from somewhere in the greater Los Angeles area. We're not sure where.
¿Qué huele, John?
¿Qué onda, Joel? ¿Dónde estás?
Right now, I'm in Tustin.
You're in Tustin. Joel, did you receive your package?
I did, sir. I just haven't been able to open it yet.
Excellent. Well, hopefully it's still in one piece.
Yes, it is.
Glad that you were able to receive it, and glad that you had no reason to suspect anything from a package from Austin. So
I know.
We're very thankful about that.
I was
very
a little
relieved.
worried.
I was too. I was concerned. I'm glad you boys are fine and safe. And
well, Dan, I was worried because Al left. All this started happening when Al went on his trip.
That's true.
So I was wondering if there was a connection there.
Were you examining the photos from Europe like extremely closely just to make sure they weren't chopped or dated from some other year?
Yeah, man. I was like, what's going on?
It's like the angle of the sun does not tell me that this is March. But no, yeah, I'm glad you guys are safe.
No, we appreciate. I mean, it was not anything that anybody wants to deal with, but it's. Honestly, if anybody gets a package they're not expecting, and especially after what happened over the past couple of weeks here in Austin, it's not anything that you want to examine.
Oh, I think I think just about everybody's going to be a little bit more careful. At least I know I am.
The only unexpected packages, I don't know if you guys received these. It was more like of a letter. It was from Ed McMahon. He said, you could be a millionaire.
Are you saying that Ed McMahon was lying to you, what?
I don't know. I never followed through. He might have been. He might have been telling the truth.
Could win loads of prizes, millions of dollars.
I remember sending those in when I was a kid. I mean, he he was very convincing on television.
Yeah, you thought you had a chance.
Yeah, I mean, you absolutely thought you had a chance.
But that Rolling Stones magazine subscription wasn't terrible thing to have.
It was like, did y'all ever do the 10 CDs for $1?
The BMG Columbia House, yes.
Yeah, and then you had to send in your little card. And if you didn't, you got stuck with like, Tony.
I'm not gonna say I did it, but I may have known people who may have been running a small little side business off that.
Interesting. Good.
You get 18 CDs for 1 penny.
Right.
Yeah,
you could
play that. You play that the right way, and you sell your product well. You can make a nice little profit for yourself.
Well, that is very true. I never really thought about it that way. You're absolutely right. Absolutely right. Very interesting.
Yes.
Always spinning the wheels, Mr. Preciado. Always spinning the wheels. I appreciate that.
Well, when you're living on the streets, you got to be clever. Keep your head on a swivel and find your angle.
Well, gentlemen, let's get right to it. We were discussing before Joel hopped on the upcoming friendlies, a chance for a handful of players to maybe make enough noise, or to not make enough noise to make the decisions easier for.
Well,
Juan Carlos Osorio.
Didn't Juan Cambios say that he already has his 23?
It wouldn't surprise me. I'm sure that. Just like we have our 23. I would assume that list is fluid.
Well,
so
he did say it, and
when did he say that? In today's press conference, he said something different.
Well, yeah, he changed his tune. He had to, because, he called up a couple of players that haven't been with the team long enough that it's pretty obvious that those guys aren't the immediate 23.
Yeah, in the press conference today, he mentioned some players being promising future players, even though they're still in this call up. Like, Vea, Jonathan Gonzalez, and I think that was it. And then they also asked him. Or go ahead.
No, well, yeah, because he's been fumbling with some of his, he saying that he already had it, and then when he said that he didn't renew. Hello?
Yeah. Still here.
Yeah, when he said he didn't renew, he chose not to renew his contract.
Right.
So then he had to
walk it back.
Yeah, dial it back, because and I saw one of these talk shows. They were saying like, fire him. They were already like, get rid of this guy now.
Well,
he's not committed.
Anything he does, in whatever kind of any and all kind of missteps. Let's face it. The media in Mexico, particularly, a large faction of them, and for better or for worse. He's not my favorite guy, and I'll admit that. But from the get-go, they just have. He can do nothing right and everything wrong, and that's just the stance that they've taken, and it's just not going to change. It's just not going to change.
So many missteps, though. But I
agree with you. Don't get me wrong. Yes, he has, but not every misstep is a fireable offense. Is my point.
No, I agree. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Losing 7-0.
And there's just like a time of acceptance, that game came and went, and they didn't fire him. So I don't know. It seems like just beating a dead horse.
Yeah, they even asked a question today. Landeros asked the question. Like, that was definitely beating a dead horse. He asked it over again, and he gave the same answer, which is the same dumb answer like we talked about long ago about having a contingency plan or a plan B, which who's not going to have a plan B or contingency plan and as a coach.
Well, it's not just that. It's like, I saw the quiz. He basically said, you know what? I kind of like it now that this happened to us because of this way. It's made me think. I'm sort of thinking, I understand what you're saying, but you could phrase that so much better. You can say, I learned a lot from that loss.
Yeah, exactly.
I learned that, that they did that. Instead of saying, "Oh yeah, I like it. I like getting my ass beat 7-0 in front of the whole world. It's great. It's great." Yeah. So, and again, this theme that just runs through almost my entire commentary is where is the PR? Where's the PR coach on this? Why not? Coach these guys on how to say stuff. Just a little bit doesn't hurt.
He strikes me as one of these guys who's like, probably really intelligent, but just socially a little bit stupid.
Right, socially awkward.
Yeah, where he's able to if he's talking about X's and O's, he can be really eloquent and long-winded, but if you're asking him to like mince words, that's where it gets a little bit difficult, tricky for him, where he ends up, it sounds terrible.
Well, it's not just that. I mean, it's also, I don't think it's so used to the spotlight, but we've interrupted Joed twice, so please, Joed.
Ya es costumbre. Did you guys get there was an interview with La Volpe, and he talked about Osorio. I don't know if the interview was from yesterday or today.
And he was at the airport.
You guys had the quotes.
I don't have. Well, we can finally find them, but I do believe that at some point in that interview, if I'm not mistaken, he did.
Yo siempre digo que el fútbol algunas veces, en mi punto de vista, es como un ajedrez.
I'm pretty sure that was said. Well, I did see it. I actually got the chance to watch Fútbol Picante last night when I got home from San Antonio. I was working the Spurs and the Wizards last night, and they brought up on Univision as well. And it's just he pretty much set fire to Osorio and what and Osorio's philosophy and his decision making and his strategy. I mean, it was a full dress down and drag at the same time. It was pretty rough. And Hugo has done that. I mean, you just go down the list. So I think it would just be hilarious if y'all would indulge me if this is the guy that ends up getting Mexico to like the semifinals or the quarterfinals and beyond. Just totally crack me up. It would totally crack me up. But no, but he did, though, Joel. It was a pretty and of course, and then the questions of the reporters are kind of egging him on, to throw down some more dirt, I guess. And he said, is this the best generation? Is it the best generation players? And he's wasting it. It went on and on and on and on and on like that. Just like what seems like the endless criticisms of Juan Carlos Osorio. So that's why I do think it would just be it would be so apt if that did end up happening. Now, hopefully, Profe Camerayas, who is in Santa Clara, who reported today that it was raining. Is that correct? He said it was raining. Is that his? Was that the only report we've received so far from Profe?
Correct. I believe so.
I believe he said it was raining balls. So let's see if I can get the exact quote. From Profe. So 2 games where and Mexico's playing Iceland, a team that one would expect is going to have a very similar style of play to Sweden, if only because a lot of the Icelandic players do play in the Swedish league. There's some that play in other leagues, and the one guy who was impressed with Iceland was Mario Carrillo, and he thinks that they're going to be that this is going to be a very good matchup for Mexico. It's a team that plays defense really well, and as we know, Mexico has problems even with teams that play defense poorly in trying to score. So we'll see how that turns out. Now, what he did say that I thought was interesting, or maybe this was Ugo who said, he said that, as a team, he said Iceland, he says, when they play the team game is a little more, is a little stronger than Mexico in that sense. But he said where Mexico has a huge advantage is in the individual play, players on the wings and such. He says that might be where we see a difference in the match tomorrow, and I tend to agree with him. Now, the player Joel that I was surprised was called up, frankly, and maybe he has paid his penance is Tecatito Corona, who now, from every list I've read from the pundits and the analysts and the experts and the fans, it appears that he is on. He's one of the firm 18 or 19 players. So whatever happened,
JCO did call him the Mexican Neymar. So he thinks highly of him.
He did call him that.
Are you surprised by that?
No, I'm not surprised.
Well,
Wait.
In San Antonio, when he was talking about all his wingers, he didn't mention him. I know that he had the issue with his family, the meaningless games in November when they were in Europe, and I get that. But him missing the Confed Cup, and maybe it was kind of the same situation. Maybe we just may never know. But I do know that there were some rumors that he was kind of on the outs. But hopefully that won't be the case, because again, Mexico needs needs all hands on deck. I mean, they don't have the luxury of not having a player like that not play for them in the World Cup.
The latest rumors I heard, John, two of them. One, that Jonah conditioned his call up to the team, and that was a 2-for-1 package deal, where his brother has to be part of it. And the second,
do you believe that?
There might be some truth to it, man.
I think without question, though, their presence is. I think it's healthy for the morale of the team, which I think is a factor to be considered. It's not just about the actual play on the field, but like the ambiance around the team. I don't know if they've made any kind of demands, but the way I'm seeing it, I liked what I'm seeing from Vela right now. The way he's playing, it leads me to believe that he's probably going to be in the starting 11.
I know, but this is Jonah way.
No, I know.
Straying away from the topic.
No. I'm getting to that. Well, my point is that
he's circling.
Yeah. A happy Vela, is the more productive, more dangerous player, just a better player if he's in a good place. And I don't know. I mean, we're talking about some fringe spots. We're not. I don't think Gio's in contention to be a starter at this point, unless a lot of things work out in a negative way. And Jonathan, I don't think most people would see his inclusion as a bad thing. Absolutely not. So if it's a bit of a package deal, just to not cause too many waves, just call him up. I don't think you want to disrupt the group this late in the game.
Yeah. Well, I thought you were going to say, since Vela's playing good, he would help Gio, because I always felt they did a good partnership. Every time they played together, they would.
I'm not going to lie. That 5-0 game in the Meadowlands against the U.S., how can any Mexico fan watch that and go, oh, my God, this is going to be – the next 10 years are going to be outstanding?
Yes.
That's totally unprofessional if that's true, though, by Jonathan Dos Santos.
I don't think it's true, dude. I just don't think it's true.
Well,
I think that they're both going to be on the squad, and boom.
But there's some truth to it in that how close they are with each other. There's no denying that.
Yeah, but if he ever,
I just have trouble believing that Jonathan would make such an ultimatum, considering that he's the one guy who hasn't. His brother's experienced quite a bit of experienced World Cups already. He really hasn't. So
I know, but he's had a bumpy ride with the selección. So
he definitely has
I
had
still
that.
no love lost right there, man.
I'm 100% with you, but I think with age, you get a lot more perspective, and I think when you get older and you know that this is probably going to be one of your last possibilities to play in a World Cup, a lot of those petty, differences that you have with the federation, you have to weigh that with man, this is your opportunity to play in a World Cup.
Yeah, but it's also his opportunity to play with his brother, which would be
Yeah.
great for both of them. And also, I guess going to Joel's point, the writing is sort of being put on the wall to Giovanni with this MLS encuesta that came out, and the bad play from Giovanni. There's more and more reason for JC to call him up.
Well, I don't think he needed a survey to tell him that he was playing poorly.
Well, no, it just backs up. It gives more ammunition for the critics to say he doesn't need to be called up, and for JCO to make that decision.
I do think that the media and just fans in general have taken a little bit too much pleasure pooping on Gio. I think they're oversimplifying and exaggerating his performance. Yes, with MLS, his last games and in the end of the last season was poor for him. I'm not disputing that, but I don't agree with the idea that he was the worst player in the summer. I think you can take your pick of players who didn't. What's that?
I don't think he's done anything. He hasn't been impressive for the national team.
I didn't say impressive. Maybe not impressive, but poor. Where you're like, you've got no business compared to some of the other horrible players. Because
to me, he's just like everybody else with Juan Carlos Osorio is that he's playing him out of position. I mean, he's playing him as a midfielder in a 4-3-3, which means that he absolutely, unquestionably has to have at least some modicum of at least the appearance of defensive duty. And Gio's not that guy. Gio's either a winger or a guy who plays behind the forwards. If you play a 4-2-1-3, where the other two guys could do that and Gio could kind of roam the middle, then yeah, it would be. I would love that. I'm sure Giovanni would love that too. But that's heaven forbid Juan Carlos Osorio using his taking advantage of the best qualities of his best players. And the one game I thought where Mexico looked as good as they did throughout the entire tenure of Juan Carlos Osorio was the first half of the game in Costa Rica. They ended up, I think it was a tie. They drew 1-1, but in the first half they looked, and it was Giovanni and Raul Jimenez they looked outstanding. I mean, outstanding. And that's because Giovanni was playing up front. He was playing as a winger in a position where he would be, where his abilities were used better. When Giovanni's playing behind that, I mean, it's just he just gets lost. I mean, he doesn't really know what to do, and he ends up getting caught. He ends up just relying on his instinct, which is to play his natural position, and it unbalances the formation. So I do know that Giovanni's level has fallen. I mean, he's not the player that he was when he was 19, 20 years old, but he's still a quality person who would absolutely be very beneficial to have. If he's coming off the bench in the World Cup. Joel.
Second rumor, John. Second big rumor making the rounds.
Wait, Joel, do I need to?
With the lavaderas.
Is this one of these or?
No, it's not. And that's that Televisa conditioned Oribe. So he has to be there. You can't leave him out. He has to be in the squad. And there had been not too long ago, I think, where Oribe was asked about about making the squad, and he was like, he kind of said, I don't care, If I go, I go. If I don't, I don't. So I don't know what was going on there, but they're saying that he's already in.
So pusieron condiciones.
But and even for that, I wouldn't be surprised because I always felt all the teams have always want someone representing their club. You have to have at least one, even if they don't play. I think that's and because that's who controls the federation. It's all the club presidents.
Edson's probably going to be part of that squad. I think he obviously likes him. The fact that he called him up to this last call-up.
What Edson has going for him is that he can play three positions all relatively well.
Edson was named by Osorio today in the press conference as one of the promising future players, though. So I don't.
Ouch!
know.
Ouch.
Ouch! Well, you know what that means for Edson.
Yeah, that doesn't sound good. And you can probably attribute that to the poor season or the lack of playing time.
You know, I guess this is where I differ in situations. Isn't that what I mean? Don't you give a guy an opportunity like that if you know he has the potential? Just say, hey man.
I hope so.
I mean, seriously, just go out there. I mean, if even him in his raw state is better than what you have, I mean, doesn't the good outweigh the bad there?
With him there, I can't think of anybody else I'd rather be playing in the center, in the center of the midfield.
Well, it's not just that. I mean, he can play there, obviously, but he can also, he would be. I mean, I think he's a really good wing back.
Potential
too.
right back too. Yeah.
I mean, a really good one. The place where you like, hope it would never happen. Would be to play as a zaguero, but I think that would only be if they go to like a 3-5-2, and he's like the one of the three guys. I don't think he could do it. Pair up with another person, but no. But I mean, we'll have to go through the list here in a second.
Yeah, and that's why I think he's got to be a shoo-in, because he actually plays in the position where Mexico is the weakest. The two probably weakest positions, that right back position and the defensive midfielder.
Yeah, I mean the thing that Osorio's formation is lacking is that one midfielder who thinks defense first, and then if we can get a crazy imbalance of the numbers, then I'm gonna go press on the attack. If it's like a 5-on-2, I'm gonna do it. But
that's why I was kind of glad to see Molina called up, because he's definitely not young. I know he's not very popular, but I like the way he's played in that position for Mexico.
No, I mean he is.
He adds a simple play, which I think that team needs. It balances some of the team, because they're often pushing forward and out of position, and it's my only issue, I guess, with him is that he's a bit slow, but. But I do like his style of play. He's good for retaining possession.
The reality is that he for what Osorio wants, he's really. There's just not that many Liga MX players that provide that. There just isn't.
And that's where I think Burrito might find himself. This is interesting, because those guys are I think. Why would they be called up if they weren't actually being considered? Because they're not players for the future, certainly not.
Right.
So that tells me that they still have a chance to maybe if it's in case of injury or something. But I think I think Burritos probably has the lesser of chance to make it, just because of his size. Although I think he's looked great with Mexico, especially in that first game I think he played with. I thought he really distinguished himself.
No, it's going to be, and again, to me, the biggest setback that the burritos and the gallitos, is one. The big one is that their nickname ends in ITO. They're not burrote, or gallote. They're burrito and gallito, so they're not very tall. And Osorio likes dudes that are 6 feet and up that can head the ball on the corner kick and on the set play when they play defense.
So what you're saying is trophies is not much of a shoo-in.
I'm saying on the defensive side, he wants 5 guys over 6 feet on the field at all times. The 4 defenders and the 1 midfielder.
Speaking of trophies, did you guys get to play the awesome new Chiva narrator clip?
Oh no, but I did. I forgot about that. I need to remember to add that to the.
I gotta get that thing.
To the rotas.
I need to wait.
Well, hang on. I do
I
have it.
would not miss games if I got to hear this guy narrate. And
Hey, speaking of this, Chivas and Rigo had a good.
Váyanse a la verga todos los que critican a Chofis.
That one.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to include that as part of our drops. I think.
but we don't have the full goal narration, starting with the pass and.
Let's see what we have here.
Pinche pases son de Pizarro de 3 dedos, Chofi, sombrerito, quítate, pinche güero. Brinca, gol. Váyanse a la verga todos los que critican a Chofi. Hijos de...
That was me. I criticized Chofis. I deserve that, John.
Yeah. So once
I think
again,
we all
Joel,
did. We all did.
Once again, Joel, you get you take out your cat o' nine tails and just go to town while you watch Chivas. All the times I criticize them, they're winning. like Silas in the Da Vinci Code. Joel, did you tell me last week that the self-loathing Chivas fan is becoming muy hipster?
Yes, it's becoming a thing, John. It's. I noticed it in other, social media.
In other venues. Is this a
was-
phenomenon that's happening both in English and in Spanish, or is it just in English?
Well, I only noticed in English. I haven't gone into the Spanish channels. But I was like, oh my. Well, I mean, I could we could kind of see it coming two liguillas, 2 seasons without liguilla. That just doesn't look too bad. And then prior to beating the Bounders the past 2 games, the team was just looking bad. I think
Dan and I, Joel, can offer some musical advice for the self-loathing Chivas fan who just wants to wallow in their self-pity.
Please let me get what I want.
Yes, exactly.
I was, there's pictures of him wearing the Chivas jersey. It is Chivas USA, but it's
still
Chivas
it's still
jersey
okay,
nonetheless.
though. Yeah, it is true.
I was at the concert when they came out, the whole band wearing the uniform.
Doesn't that just make it sadder for Momo to wear Chivas USA?
He was trying. He was trying.
Was this in LA where he wore this, or was this down in
Los Angeles. I think it was at the Palladium.
You went
During
and
one
saw?
of his tours, though, too, during the I Esteban tour, I believe the drum set had a Mexican flag on it, too, the bass drum.
Was that the one like in 2010?
You might be right. Yeah, that probably sounds about right.
I see. This is like a confet, but I remember I saw that and I was saying, so this is really strange because I saw him 20 years ago, or close to 30 years ago. God damn. What happened?
He's pandering.
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about me. That sucks. Excuse me.
Well, I mean, Johnny Marr was in the band, so that can't suck too bad.
No. I'm just a little sad at my own inevitable demise, unfortunately.
We're all there, dude. I spent a weekend, not weekend, but I spent a night drinking with some of the boys, and where I was arguing the fact that I was cool, trying desperately to argue that fact.
The fact that you have to argue.
Yeah, exactly.
Shows that you're even cooler than you think you are.
Yeah. So there's that.
Yeah, it's So, Joel, I had this theory about Chivas, and I wanted to run it by you, and then we'll get into some heavy-duty Santos talk before Dan falls off.
League leaders.
Yes.
One more thing on the.
I have a fun fact on Santos. Remind me before we start.
Yes, Albert.
One more thing on the national team. Rigo earlier today, what did he say? Oh shoot, I lost it. He said that Pizarro and who's the other guy should be in place of Guardado and Herrera.
Oh, stop it. He did not.
He
Pizarro,
did. He tweeted it.
Pizarro and Fabian should be in place of Guardado and Herrera. And coincidentally, I think afterwards those two are injured. So I don't know if he did some brujeria or whatnot. I actually sort of agree with him.
Well, I know Herrera's injured. It was Guardado injured too.
I think Guardado's.
I haven't heard about him
Guardado's
being
not
injured.
fit, and
Well,
Where's our correspondent? Damn it!
Fabian just returned, but you know what? Not to stray off topic, but sometimes coaches will value someone of like Guardado's experience just because you already know what to expect, and they've been in really big games. Pizarro hasn't really been at the national team. He doesn't really have a cartelera, man. He could do better, but then he could also bust a gullit and then
I am
choke
curious
and
to see how
do nothing.
I am curious to see how he does with the good ones. Because I know part of the excuses that we heard was that he was playing with lesser players at the Gold Cup, and he wasn't able to really flex his true muscles. So I'd like to see him play with the A team. I hate saying that, but like with the main starting 11 to see how he does, see how he fares.
yeah, those guys have the currently top skill, and of course their future potential is greater. But yeah, I sort of am becoming a skeptic on the historic quality of Guardado and these guys, where these younger guys are coming up and playing well. Pizarro every day he plays.
Well, let's talk about, before we get to my question for Joel on my Chivas theory. Let's talk about Guardado, because I was just thinking that, man, he has been just outstanding, an outstanding Mexican national team player, a solid, dependable for 10 years. I mean, who else can we say that about in that same time period?
Yeah, and not only that, he could play multiple positions, which is something JCO values very highly.
So for anybody to say that he should be replaced by a guy who, one hasn't played all season, and another guy who is in a major funk, a slump, just nowhere near the player that one would think at the level he should be playing at this point in his career, is just laughable. No offense to Rodrigo, but
well, no, I mean, but that's 10 years.
Hijo de la chingada, no mames, güey.
I mean, seriously,
10 years of being solid, and then not being on the level as, pretty much on the level of the same level as Pizarro and, well, I won't say Fabian, but that doesn't mean anything. 10 years of being solid and providing service to the team doesn't mean you deserve to start if someone
but
else.
he's playing better than anybody, so he absolutely not only deserves
who's
to start,
playing
he deserves
better
to be
than
the
him?
captain. That is just ridiculous.
Who's playing better than Guardado?
Yes.
Yeah, in that position.
Been impressed with Guardado lately?
Well,
No,
I mean,
I'm
the
saying
last time
who's
he
better.
played for the national team was 5 months ago, so I'm not necessarily sure we can make a
5 months
what the term lately describes. But I mean, out of all the players who are, of the top 14, 15 players, most who are in Europe right now, Guardado has had by far, outside of only Chucky Lozano's, had the best season in Europe. Period. I mean, it's not even a point of discussion. I mean, Betis, a team that was just recently promoted, they are in the zone to make Europe next year.
Okay, so it's not the 10 years history and being a good service to the national team.
That counts too, though. That counts
Dude,
too.
he's been a consistent professional.
Yeah.
But that's not the reason. You can have all that if someone else is better than you and comes up on a scene.
But my point is, they're not better than. I mean, if somebody comes up and
Yeah.
says playing better than that's Guardado, do you think that we would be talking about anybody else other than that guy? A guy who's just come on, just having just an incredible, amazing. This guy's fantastic.
I think the only player that could possibly play his position is Marco Fabian.
And and Marco's a terrific player, and I don't know, but Marco has been out for 6 months. Marco had, almost a career-ending injury.
He probably has an older body than Guardado does.
We'll see if Guardado doesn't play and Herrera doesn't play.
He was banging cocktail waitresses 2 at a time. Players couldn't get a drink at the table. What's wrong with you?
I mean, come on, dude.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of who you'd replace him with, like who.
Chicas, that's not. I mean, I 100% agree with you. If there's somebody who's younger and better and is just killing it, yes, replace Guardado. You know who would be the first one to say, yeah, absolutely, is Guardado. It's just not happening. I mean, there's no one who comes close to fitting that description right now.
I don't see it that great of a difference in skill and in playing
between him and who though. Who are you comparing him to?
Pizarro.
Oh no, man! I don't think that they play the same position at all. I think
Pizarro is like a 10, like a winger. In fact, his best game for the national team was when he played in the center of the midfield. I mean, I think that's his best position. A setup man. He was outstanding.
And I'd prefer him with less defensive responsibility, because I do think he tracks back and he hustles and he runs a lot, but he also dribbles into space where he's going to leave other areas exposed if he's playing in that midfield role.
Yeah, I'm just saying Guardado and Herrera they're not the players they once were.
And Herrera, I disagree with you there too. I think he's having a good season at Porto. They again extended his contract. Granted, they're probably hoping for a good World Cup so they can cash in, but still, he's still their captain. I mean, that's not a. I don't. And
Guardado is Betis captain. He's only been there a year.
Here's
less than a year.
Here's something to think about though. I think there came some people writing a list of 5 players going to MLS soon. Guardado was on it for sure, and I think Herrera was on it.
Dude, Guardado totally deserves to go to MLS.
Yeah, I don't see an issue with him.
What else does he have to prove?
I know. What does that say? That his time in Europe.
Yes, he has one thing left to prove. He got Mexico as far as he can in the World Cup.
Yeah, but you can't blame MLS for wanting to bring in those players.
I'm not blaming MLS. I'm stating that the reason that my point was their best time has passed. That's why they're done in Europe. They're coming to MLS.
Dude, he's over 30. There's no question.
For the national team as of right now. If Pizarro or Fabian or some other player comes up and does well, they could take their spot easily. I don't see any reason why they couldn't take Guardado's spot. And
I don't dispute that.
Dude, but no one is disputing that. All we're saying is that there's no one right now is playing playing.
Well, I'll go a step further too. I'll say there's nobody even close.
Yeah.
There's nobody close. I don't think there's anybody close that would say that yells, that screams out that you need to replace Guardado and Herrera.
So didn't you say Fabian would be a potential replacement for Guardado?
Potential replacement, like potential, like meaning like if Guardado was hurt, I wouldn't mind seeing Marco in that role.
Who's got the better long range shot as of now? Fabian. Guardado had a long range shot years ago. Now he doesn't have anything, or he hasn't shown it.
Anything? I don't know about anything.
I'm just saying there isn't. You can't. I don't agree with. There's no one even close. I think there's plenty of people close because there's been games for
there are people that can show potential to do that. But as far as someone who has over the past 6 months been played consistently at that level, no, there's no one even close.
And he still offers you really quality, good free kicks and corner kicks. I don't think Fabian is known for his free kick capabilities. Aquino certainly isn't. Aquino's very, very limited. He's got a lot of hustle, but he's very limited.
He's a poor man's Ramoncito.
I'm saying I've seen the trend, the downhill trend for both of those players.
Look,
there has been.
Were they better at one? Of course, but I mean, to me, Rafa, when he was at this point in his career, played 2 more World Cups and was fantastic in both of them, and that's just the reality. And in fact, Rafa's best World Cup was, in my opinion, in South Africa in 2010, where he was not the central that he once was, but he was an outstanding midfielder, and he was Mexico's best player in that tournament. And then he was the same age that Guardado is.
Because if you're
Did you mute Dan? Chiquis?
I think he did it on purpose.
Oh, he muted himself.
All right, back to me.
Yes, Joel.
What was the question, man?
All right. So my question, my thought watching Chivas, Joel, was they remind me of Mexico in 2013, where they're a good team, they have good players, but they're all, collectively just pressing so hard, and they're all trying to make something happen, that they're playing themselves. They're forcing it way too much, and it just had a major. Then something needs to happen to kind of loosen them up.
Yeah, I think that's where the ANDA comes in. There was a lot of talk that Almeida was losing the locker room, and I think not because of all the thing that was going on, especially with the Alanis case, and then the team playing bad, and some of the players wanting to leave, and they kind of felt like if they didn't leave, they might be forced out, or not, or would not be given a really good contract. I think, and if you see some of the comments, which is a big reason why he hasn't been talking anymore, which is Jose Luis Higuera. So if you saw some of his comments that he was saying, if you're one of the players there, you might. It's just not gonna sit well.
Was this one of them?
Saying,
did he say,
I can handle things, I'm smart?
Well, he was talking about how they wanted to use the Pachuca method of getting young players and then selling them off. And I see the Chivas is not that type of team.
Chivas needs to, they need to bring players in. But if there's any decent Mexican player that shows any kind of potential, you have to go snatch him up immediately. You just do.
No, it's true. But he's saying that at a time when they just sold Gallito and they were trying to get rid of Alanis.
Right.
So it just looks bad, because if you're one of the upstarts there and you're not, that's one of the better teams to be in. But if you're going to be treated that way, you're not going to want to stay there long.
What Chivas misses, Joel, and it's a guy that, he doesn't necessarily have to be the best player, but they don't have a guy on the field who is the sheriff. Hector Reynoso, for his, as long as he played, I know he had played with some great guys, but in the latter half of his career, he was the man. He set the tone. He was the leader of those teams. For better or for worse. But they just don't have anybody like that.
Nah, I think Gallito comes close to that, and
yeah, and then Gallito has proven with Santos that he had plenty of gas left in tank, and look how good what a transformation it is to have a player that can dispossess as quickly as Gallito can, and then immediately turn around and get to the point where they can start a very small attack. He's a great distributor of the ball. And on top of everything else, as you were saying, he's the kind of player that maybe in the locker room that people would tend to listen to and follow a little more when stuff needs to get done.
Yeah, and see, with clubs like that, you want to hold on to some of these players as long as you can. Not to the level of Salcido, but close enough,
But and Salcido, I'm not trying to interrupt about Salcido, but he, I don't know how many times I've seen him in an interview say, "I don't want to be the captain. I don't want to be that guy." And they're asking him to do it. It's like he doesn't. They're giving him a role that he's not comfortable with, and he doesn't like, and he doesn't want to do.
Yeah, No, the team has looked bad as far as like holding on to their players or to their known stars. And we even see how Bravo got treated to the point where he didn't want to stay.
Sure.
And some of the other players, they were just shown the back door, like Ramoncito Morales. It's just been really poor management of the players. I think that hurts. That, you know, in the long run, it hurts the club.
Sure. No, you're absolutely right. And you know, and then giving away, you know, a player like Gallito to get two, you know, young promising players who have done some, you know, they've been okay. You know, they haven't, you know, obviously, you know, they're looking toward the future with that. I mean, you know, maybe things will get better for them as it moves on. But you know, when you look at the way Santos is playing right now, and hopefully Dan is still with us and he can start gushing with how well his Guerreros are playing. League leaders, they won again last weekend, or did they tie? I thought they
No,
won.
they won.
They did win. Yeah. Who'd they beat?
Jesus, man, you're putting me on the spot. Was it Monterrey or no?
Or Necaxa?
Puebla.
Puebla. Oh, that's right.
Puebla.
In Puebla.
Yeah.
Their only home defeat of the season.
Yeah. So great win for and then Furch is picking up the slack that.
Yep. Stepping it up.
Well, here's the fun fact I had for Santos. And that's their head coach, Dante Siboldi, who was working at Cruz Azul. So they didn't want to give him a shot with the first team. Well, they were recycling all these coaches. So he ended up leaving. What could have been,
Yeah, so you know, and I used to do for Cruz Azul. I have this.
Y la Cruz Azuleo.
But I think it's just so much more appropriate for Cruz Azul if we do this.
I'm afraid I just blew myself.
I think that's a better Cruz Azul drop, at least for now.
They need a Limpia, Brujo Amazónico, and a couple others.
Well, apparently we need to talk to Rigo with his brujeria that he had earlier today, and yeah, Guardado. Now is Guardado not match fit because it was a 18-hour trip for him because they have to go all the way to the West Coast? I mean, it's one thing just to fly to New York, then you have to fly another 7 hours to get to the West Coast. I mean, that's a haul.
Wait, is that for players that are? Because I heard Herrera wasn't going to be able to play.
Yeah, Herrera's out for both games, and Guardado is. They just said he's not match fit, whatever that means.
There was 3 other guys that had to be dropped as well.
Well, Jurgen and Aquino might join the team after this game, and Jonathan dropped off because he picked up an injury in a friendly against some team over the weekend.
And Gio was
which by some miracle, I have a feeling that Jonathan's going to be playing Saturday for Galaxy. I just, you know, I think he's going to
Saturday.
He's going to recover miraculously and then play on Saturday.
Yeah, he's definitely going to be playing next Saturday.
That's right, El Clásico Angelino.
And they're going to have Zlatan.
Is that down in Carson, or is it going to be at the new place?
No, Carson. And now I regret not applying. I wanted to, and it's difficult now. Once the Zlatan move was announced.
I think you can still do it, Joel.
No, because it's a really small press box.
Yeah, but if they have that many people, they'll probably do an ancillary. They'll probably have, you know, they'll just dedicate a row.
It might be raining and all that. I like to be in there, John, next to the food, next to the bathroom. I'm spoiled, John.
Well, I mean, you'll still be able to do that. What I'm saying is, they'll just have to like go through a door.
Well, it has to be within 50 feet of me, John.
They're
so demanding.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, if someone's gonna wreck that bathroom, I would prefer it to be me.
Oh, geez.
Well, that's because you eat like 4 hot dogs in the media meal. Do you do it to yourself? You do it to yourself, man. Chihuahua. It's just terrible. Well, anyway, so back to Santos. Back to Santos, Dan.
Please.
So they've essentially qualified for the Liguilla. They have to, they hit the magic number, which is usually 25, 26 at a minimum. There's 5 games left, so they are in. I don't know if there's anybody is going to question that. And my question to you is, do you want them to? I mean, do you want them to go into the Liguilla as the number 1 seed? Is it going to matter for something? Because I seem to recall, and I think it was. I think it was in 2007 when Santos was the number 1 seed, and a plucky bunch from Seul was able to knock them out, and then made the final, lost of Atlante of all teams. But and you've seen as an 8 team Santos do the same thing to Tigres.
Yes. I'd rather my team go in hot. So if that means they win out, then cool. But I guess that's mostly what I'm looking at and hoping for, is that if they're going to get their losses, I hope they pick them up late in the next couple matches and then finish strong, because I think momentum is what you want going into. So right now, I guess I'm a little bit concerned that they may be peaking early, but if they can sustain it, then I don't have an issue with them going in as the number 1 seed. I think I don't think teams should be afraid of that.
So Dan, you're having a cookout, right? And you're flipping your steaks, you're pouring beer on them, got cebollitas going in the whole bit, and you're having an asado basically. And you get a call. You're saying you can invite one Santos legend, and your only choices are Jared and Pony Ruiz. Who's going to eat your delectable top sirloins?
Normally, as strictly as a fan, I like El Pony better. But if we're going to be breaking bread and all, and I think I probably would rather talk to Jared and hang out with him and pick his brain a bit.
Who do you think would be more of a desmadre at the party? Who do you think would be like a guy who would play horseshoes naked by the time it's done because he's having such a great time?
Can I say Osvaldo Sanchez? Because I think he's an ex-Santos that I think he looks like he could wreck it.
Absolutely. So
he may have been involved in previous
desmadres,
get-togethers. Yes,
he's a veteran desmadreador.
Yeah, he's the guy I'd kick out of my party.
Osvaldo. Yeah. So who would overstay his welcome?
That would be Salcido.
Yeah.
That's a good one too. Yeah.
Who would overstay his welcome? Who would be the guy that is sitting on the couch? You're like, gee, it's late. I gotta get up early. What time do you have to go to work? Who's the guy that's going to...
Marco.
Achita Ludueña.
Achita Ludueña.
Oh, was he a known drinker? He did look a little bit soft.
Man, I really. He was, for years the best foreigner in Liga MX.
Oh yeah,
for 5 solid years. I mean, he was just.
I wanted him in the national team. John.
Oh, who didn't? Man, and it was. It was. But Borghetti, so he would be the guy that you would want to talk to, get to know a little bit, have a few beers with. Interesting.
We're talking about Legend Santos? Yeah.
How come I don't get these party questions, John? See, those are the fun questions.
I asked
what are you talking about? He asked you.
A good Chivas question.
No, he didn't say if
and
party
you struggled to find an answer.
What? Alternative facts.
Yeah, because
he asked you if there was
Chivas ídolo.
Yeah.
No, ídolo, but I mean party with like.
Okay, let's do an either or.
Who would
you want to get into?
He didn't ask me who I would end up with naked playing horseshoes. I mean,
no, that's not true. I asked you. Hang on a second. Hang on.
With Bofo or something.
Hang on a second. Let's see. Let's first of all
Y usted no me va a decir qué carajo tengo que hacer.
Get that in there. But I will say we have played it. We'll play it again, Joel. We'll play. What is it? MKF, right? Well, we'll play MKF, and then we have three lovely ladies. We have Lady Aguila.
Primero que nada hay felicitar a Chivas porque ganaron bien. La neta, hay que dejarnos de tonterías.
So we have her. We have.
He was banging.
Oh, that's not her. We have
No nos merecemos este equipo.
Lady
No nos
Cemento.
merecen como afición. Porque les falta actitud. Les falta partirse la madre.
And then, of course, we have.
Sufriendo cada torneo lo mismo. Duele porque uno no se...
So there it is right there. We'll do.
And Gonzalo.
Oh well, if you, I don't want to, and I know you live on. I mean, if you, okay.
Yeah, Gonzalo.
No, but you know what game we're playing here, right, Joel?
Oh yeah.
Okay,
MFK.
yeah. Right. So you have Lady Aguila, and again Lady Aguila.
Primero que nada hay que felicitar a Chivas porque ganaron bien.
I like her agreeableness. I would.
Yeah.
That would get my M.
That would get your M, and then you have Lady Cemento. Let's see. Here's Lady Cemento.
No nos merecemos este equipo y no nos merecen como afición.
And then we have Lady Máquina. This is Lady Máquina.
Sufriendo cada torneo lo mismo.
I think it's pretty obvious. I mean, but I'm gonna see what you say. So
I don't know if I could go through with the rest, man.
So hey, that's why we're just using letters, Joel. It's okay. So Lady Máquina. Look. I'll tell you what, Joel. I'm gonna count to 10, right? And if it's K, you can interrupt me. Okay. I'm gonna count to 10. If it's K, you can interrupt me. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Oh, I thought you were gonna play the clip. I was waiting for the clip to be played.
Oh, yeah, I'll play the clip again. Sorry.
All
right. And then of course there's Lady Cemento. So, but if you
wait, can I hear Cemento one more time?
Sure. What? Oh, hang on.
Yeah, I'll give her the F.
Okay. All right.
She seems passionate.
It's yeah, but you would because you want to kind of put the other one just out of her poor misery. I mean, it's
like, you want to end that misery, guys. Boner kill right there.
Yeah,
I could listen to that over and over again on a loop, dude.
Yeah. So anyway, so we tried to play it with Ronnie a couple months ago, and he wouldn't have any of it. He wouldn't have any of it. Well, there you have it. Well, in conclusion, Dan, Santos, are they going to win the whole thing?
Probably not.
No.
Probably not. No. But
but that's the good attitude. I mean, that sounds weird, but then the devastation.
I'm trying to cushion the blow, dude.
Yeah, exactly. The devastation.
I'm smart.
You're hedging. You're hedging.
I've gone through this a few times already. They certainly have a chance. At this point, they're definitely, I think, one of the favorites. I think they've worked themselves into being one of the favorites, considered one of the favorites, especially with Giannini going down and the team rolling on without him and still putting in goals. It's promising, but all things can happen in the Liguilla.
So should if and when Santos wins the trophy, Dan, should the person who fired Chepo get the most credit? or should it be the coach?
The knife slices through Joel's back.
I think maybe it would be appropriate to give him an honorary like ring or of sorts to Chepo, to say just a thank you card, for making it obvious, for making it easier for us to cut the ties.
Now, do you think that Chepo would respond, say, like La Volpe, say, ese equipo yo lo armé yo, yo lo armé, as he would say.
Though, I actually thought I saw him today.
Chepo?
No BS. Yes, I was at a 7-Eleven in Escondido.
Yeah. Oh man,
feeling up.
Fighting a Slurpee.
This was a guy that was. I don't know. His car didn't strike me as something that Chepo would be driving, but I don't know what he likes to drive. But it was like a small SUV.
Did you look for a rental car sticker?
But he was wearing. No, you know what? I should have looked for that. It's true. But he was wearing a suit, had the glasses, white shirt, red tie, perfectly trimmed beard, angry, scowling, squinty-eyed look.
Was he wearing his trademark baseball cap that says "loser"?
No baseball. No, he was well dressed, but he looked. Man, dude, I really wanted to take a picture of him and send it to you guys, but I just didn't want to. Didn't want to like. Guy? Yeah, exactly.
Friendly in San Diego. Against somebody this in a few days.
I'm actually working CantinaMX in San Antonio, the big Cruz Azul Monterrey friendly that they're playing. I'm actually gonna be on the field for that. I'm looking forward to it. I think it's gonna be a lot of fun.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so we'll see how that turns out. And of course, I know Joel, I hope you understand that we only bring up Chepo and Jess. Not as it's just it's become a good bit, and Dan is cordial enough to play along with me.
He will coach the national team again, John. He will get his.
He'll get a revanche.
Hey, we've seen it. We've seen it, gentlemen. We saw it with
but I thought the Santos gig was a revancha.
We saw it like La Puente. We saw it with, well, I don't know what happened. You could say results, but I think there was something else there. But we've seen it with a bunch of coaches that they've returned. So he just needs to be at a club where he could do his thing. He's still, as far as Mexican coaches go, he's still tops. Liga MX in general, his numbers are still top 5, top 3.
Gotta tweet this. What's more ridiculous? Saying Chepo's going to come back to the national team, or Almeida in the current state of Chivas should be the national team coach.
Hey, but
the guy that I was
Almeida still has a chance.
The guy I was hoping would get a revancha was Ojitos.
Yeah, see, he could have though.
Yeah. But you know what? I think you're right. If Chepo, the thing is though, is that Chepo has to come in as a bombero and pull it off. If Chepo does that, then he will definitely leap to the top of the of the table for national team duty when. But the thing is though, is with the way that they're going to be doing the qualifying with the 48 teams, I mean, Mexico is they're just not going to be in danger of not making the World Cup ever.
There's not going to be a need for a bombero.
Yeah.
Serge says Chepo will coach the NT the way Piojo will coach the NT.
Piojo is next in line.
I think Piojo's got a good chance.
Yeah, it's going to be Piojo's.
You even have when you even have Joserra and Faitelson, shilling for Piojo, you know something's there, man.
And they're the Azteca guys, and it's
yeah, man. The memo got sent out.
Well, I have to say that's really disappointing if that's true. I do not want to see him come back.
You didn't like his World Cup games? Man, those were fantastic.
What's up with that, Dan? He should have never been fired. He should have never been fired.
I agree with you. But he's gone now. And I'd rather move on.
Forward, never back, huh?
Who would you put from Liga MX? Who would you put?
You know what? I can't tell you how many times I try to go back to certain gals after the first go around didn't work out. You know how that second go around, third go around, sometimes fourth go arounds ended up.
You remember
like
when
first one?
Yeah, it's like remember when you had a cassette tape and you made a tape of a tape. When you make tape of CDs, it was okay.
Yeah,
but when you make a tape of a tape, and then you make a tape of that tape, I mean, it's like I call it losing a generation. So when you go back in a relationship it's like you've lost a generation of that relationship. It's never going to be, what it once was.
Yep, that's a great Great analogy, John.
So you're thinking that's what's good. What would happen with? I mean, it happened with Aguirre.
No, I absolutely think that's what happened. Besides, like he had his chance to elevate Mexico to something that they hadn't been able to reach, and he choked. I cannot forgive him for that.
Aguirre?
No, Piojo.
Oh,
I think putting on the breaking out the bunker with I don't know how much time, over 30 minutes to play, was still a mistake that I can't forgive him for.
Dude, I don't
want to see him back. I don't think he's got the medal for it for that pressure moment.
I think the midfield collapsed and burned. The midfield had nothing left. They could not keep possession.
It just seemed like it was switched. It seemed like it was a switch though. The second Gio was taken out and Aquino was put in.
Yeah,
but it seemed like they were like, yes, we're going to be pulling forward, and more so even now because we got zero fear of this guy.
Right.
At least that's how I interpreted that game, and I just felt that you were able to take the lead from this team. You were beating them most of the game. Why stop, man? Just keep at it if it was working for you. And I mean, maybe you're right. Maybe they just ran out of gas, and it was just a coincidence that it happened as Gio was taken out. But
I mean, I'm not making excuses for it. Don't get me wrong, but I mean, I do think that I don't think they had any intention of bunkering, and also the Dutch. I mean, they were putting on the full court press.
Yeah,
the whole time, and Mexico's big mistake was, to me.
Did you have any doubt that they were going to lose that game? I didn't. Once Schneider hit that got that goal, I knew it was game over.
Oh yeah, there's no yeah. You mean when they tied it?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. It was that whole World Cup was such a huge carbon copy of the France one. I mean, just in every possible way. It was.
And I guess that's the one glimmer of hope that I have with Juan Carlos Osorio is that he's seems to be reckless enough to just go for it, and if the stars align, I think the chances of going farther are better with him than with some of these other guys that have been there, because I think these other guys just will have an overwhelming need to play it safe.
You know, Sergio says that every coach has had their brain farts at the big stage.
But look at the brain fart for Osorio with a big 7-0. So I think the chances are for Osorio to royally screw up in this World Cup than any other coach.
Can we call that what it was? Not a brain fart, but a brain shart. Can we come up with a new term? A brain fart so egregious, it is a brain shart.
Well, what was Aguirre against the U.S. when he takes out Ramoncito Morales?
Right. Let's put in a guy who hasn't played in 3 years. Matador.
Or Mejia Barón.
In every World Cup by every coach except maybe La Volpe.
La Puente. I mean, I think he was. I think the team kind of like choked on him right there against Germany, and some of that was suspension and injury, so he didn't have much choice.
Yeah, but I mean the La Volpe thing. I'm sorry, La Puente, that game. I mean, the thing is that kind of stuff happens all the time, but you cannot let that happen when you have Jurgen Klinsmann behind him. You just kick it. You know, if you're thinking, oh my God, I'm going to misplay this, just kick it out. You know, just get rid of it. You know, do it, but just don't get nutmeg.
Yeah, Raul Rodrigo Lara.
When you have a guy like Jurgen Klinsmann behind you, you just, man. Yeah, so I can't really put that one on the coach. And then the second goal was just.
And having a name like
I'm just going to go ahead and play this for all of us. Because I know we're all feeling bad right now, and it's just.
Oh, man.
Just. Have a moment of silence.
Just you guys watch, man. Just you guys watch.
Hey, we talked about it earlier. I think it would be hilarious if he ends up being the guy that does it.
It would absolutely be ironic, and I guess it'd be very fitting because I can't think of a coach who's lasted as long as he has, who is hated as much as he is.
Oh man, and it's a really long shot because we're going up against Germany that starts strong. Their second stringers already put a beating on us.
Look, man, the
And
Ticos are going to do us a favor.
They're taking out Brazil.
And they're gonna contribute to helping them secure second place.
Yeah. If they're going to make an offer, they're going to make an offer they can't refuse.
Well, I don't know about all that, but I'm just saying, I'm being hopeful, man.
Wait, who is the other? Who would be the other potential rival from that group? Brazil and
Brazil,
Switzerland. Yeah.
This is, I'm kind of embarrassed because I used to, back when I was a kid, man, I devoured World Cup. I mean, I could tell you the
you just spit it out.
Yeah, the cities that the groups were playing and the stadiums they would play, what color uniforms they're going to use.
He even completed the Panini books.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah, I did. But there was always like every team had like 2 or 3 that was missing.
Now he just puts the three stickers that comes there, the 3 complimentary ones. Yeah, they always come pretty close to getting the 4 spots.
All right, so here we go. Brazil, Costa Rica, Switzerland, Serbia. So there's, I don't think that's there's any question.
Clearly, they're the favorites, but
okay, so Mexico have to finish first.
But those are all pretty solid teams.
Something crazy would have to happen.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah,
how's Neymar doing?
Finish first. So basically, beat Germany in the first game.
Well, yeah, I mean that would be the only way, but even that's not a guarantee.
I just think there's a possibility that Brazil can draw points.
I don't see it happening then, because Brazil is, even without Neymar,
I don't know about that. Have they played many games without him? I have to confess I'm not that familiar with who they played in their World Cup qualifiers.
Well, the only game that they played without him was in that last World Cup where they lost 7-1. I'm not saying that's what would happen, but I mean usually he's in the lineup, especially in the official matches.
So there you go. So him not being 100% or could easily, you could reasonably like suggest that it may affect the team's performance, especially early on.
Well, they got like a good group doing really well though. They got a good group of players that are doing really good. I mean, I think we'll see in the FIFA friendlies. We'll see how they do.
Man, I mean, honestly, that kid Jesus who plays for Manchester City, I think is he's going to be the next world superstar. That guy is unbelievable. So I don't think. I mean, obviously Neymar is an outstanding, top 5 player in the world, top 3 or 4, maybe top 3 when he's, now that Picolin is retired, we can put him in the top 3. But Brazil is the deepest team on the planet. I mean, there's not one other country in the world that has as many players playing worldwide as Brazil. So I don't necessarily think that they're going to miss Neymar all that much. I mean, obviously, yeah, they're going to miss him, yes, but I mean, just scan the list of the guys that can play a spot, and it's a pretty damned impressive list. I think that 5 of those guys would play on all the the 31 other World Cup teams and start. Wouldn't you like to have that as your as your player pool?
Well, just you watch, John.
Okay, all right. Just you wait, Henry Higgins.
Just you watch. This Mexico's team.
Honestly, I would love to see Mexico play Brazil in the round of 16. I think it would be the match that they've been waiting for their entire lives.
This group knows that, like, the bulk of the players, as Chiquis was pointing out earlier, that they're looking at the for a lot of them, for most of them, this is going to be their last World Cup. You hope that they're able to tap into something and make it happen, because I think all of them are gonna be kicking themselves if round of 16 is going to be the limit of what they were able to reach.
Well, we'll know a lot about Mexico and what's going to happen to them in the World Cup, but when they play Korea, I mean, that is the key match of this whole thing for Mexico, is the Korea match.
Do you think point differential might be a factor?
Or goal.
Well, goal for sure. I mean, I think that if you play Germany, you can't lose by more than 2 goals. You just can't. I mean, that killed Portugal. Portugal would have qualified ahead of the U.S. had they not been drilled by Germany 4-0 in the last World Cup.
So I think that's one of the things that it's going to be interesting how they approach that game, as to actually try to win or be conservative and then just limit the damage.
Well, the thing is that if they can get to the Sweden game with 3 points, 6 points is going to get you through. In most cases.
To me, that's the key match, though, John. The first one, the Germany. To me, that's the key one.
Yeah, but the thing about the Germany match is I mean, it might be key. Probably, for their mental state. I agree with you 100%. But if Mexico gets anything positive out of that game, it would be a major miracle. I mean, it would be a major miracle. So I don't think that you necessarily have to. I mean,
I'm sticking by the stats, Yon. Losing the first game and qualifying, I think it's about your chances drop to about 20%.
You're right. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. I don't deny it. But Mexico has to go to that third game against Sweden with a chance to qualify, and the only way they do that is by beating the Koreans. Period.
I think the Koreans are going to give Mexico a surprise.
Oh, there's no question. I mean, it is the, and they did the same thing in the Olympics. Mexico had a group in the Olympics where they had Germany, Korea, and then they had Fiji. So everybody was going to beat Fiji. So the match that decided the group for Mexico was Korea, and Korea ended up winning that match. They knocked them out.
And Sweden eliminated who was it? Italy from the.
That's right, and with Zlatan moving over to Galaxy, is he just getting his legs going so he can play in the World Cup?
Yeah, they don't even need him. that's probably even more worrisome.
And how amazing is it that Zlatan can go over outside of the transfer window, or is he a free agent?
I don't know how that worked out, but I don't think he's going to go to the World Cup. I don't think he's wanted. I was watching Línea de Cuatro, and the players, they were interviewing him, and they asked a number of the players, and they all seemed like pretty okay with him not being there. Where it almost sounded like they preferred it. Like they all came with like, well, we got here without him anyway, and he's not part of the team. He's retired, so.
But you got to see all that sponsorship money lining up, man, because this guy is. If you ask the average fan, they won't be able to name you Swedish players. Right?
Yeah, but the thing is, if you're actually wanting to put on a good World Cup, and you're going to put it someone that's going to arguably ruin
business first. There, man.
Is it like that for? Is it business first for everyone?
Yeah, business first, sports second, man. They have to make the paycheck. So, I mean, how much money they could make just on even how much more with sponsors, or bring in more sponsors.
Well, I'm sure the Galaxy are hoping he makes it to the World Cup.
Yeah.
Well, that's like I think there's an article out saying that MLS didn't want to bring in players like Zlatan because of the stigma of being a retirement league, but they need to make an exception for Zlatan.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at his numbers, man, before he got injured, he won 3 cups with Manchester United. After he got injured, they haven't won anything.
It's funny about Zlatan that he's been a journeyman player, but his stops have been impressive as hell. I mean,
I would take him at Santos.
Yeah,
this is his 7th team, and his first season with every team before that, league champion.
I mean, he played at Barcelona, he played at AC Milan, he played at Manchester United, he played at PSG. So yeah, I could see
Inter.
Did he play at Inter too? He played at Inter.
Yeah.
Yeah. So so Santos, naturally would be the next one on that list.
Yeah, I don't think that's a bad move, man. I know the whole retirement thing, but
you remember when he's playing in Arabia, 30 goals in the season, or whatever it was. That could be what Zlatan does in MLS.
Oh, I have no question he's going to do well.
Yeah.
No question. If he's healthy, of course. He's going to have Jonah helping him out there, dude. I think
Jonah and Gio, man.
Jonah, Gio, and Zlatan. Imagine the parties those guys are going to have.
We're mad at Gio right
and Bella,
now, so we can't include
because Bella's their neighbor.
That's right.
And Bella.
Well, I know that you go to those parties. ¿Por qué no invitas, güey?
No, I don't get invited either, man. But I do see Zlatan being very professional. Like he does take it very serious. He doesn't just go to slack off. So hopefully some of that can rub off on Gio, man. Because he needs it, man.
He's going to be arrogant, though.
He seems switched off because when Gio arrived, he was scoring every game. For like the first, 10 games? Every match he either scored or gave an assist. And then the switch just went off. And we've been waiting since.
Well, I mean, it's yeah, exactly. Which is why he was nominated was that a player poll or a fan poll?
Player poll.
Player poll.
Yeah, ESPN player poll.
Yeah, and he narrowly beat Michael Bradley. I saw as the most overrated player. And, now I will say this in Gio's defense. I mean, he quote unquote won the poll by getting 11% of the vote. So it's not like it's a consensus. This guy's the most overrated player in the league.
And I believe only like a fifth of the players participated. Could be wrong about that, but I believe that was like roughly the number.
Yeah. As Joel has said, though, his level of play has dropped dramatically, and it was even rougher last year because the team was just so bad. Although he played, I actually produced a match. It was probably one of his best matches in the at least in the latter half of the year, where he set up a guy so nicely, and again, that's why I think that's his best position is to play behind two forwards, and just serve up just one great ball after another.
Yeah, and John, what we saw Giovinco do, what was it, to the Cholos or Tigres? To
Tigres, right?
And that's something I was expecting the Galaxy would do with Gio,
Sure.
It's not far fetched. When I was saying it, I was getting some laughs. But look what's happening now. And I'm not saying about closing the gap or anything of that, but you can expect upsets. It's not. It's not difficult to imagine that.
Upsets happen more frequently. They're not really upsets anymore.
Yeah.
And again, I'm not saying it's happening frequently. I mean, it's
yeah, and so who knows, man? Maybe next CCC with, we're gonna see more of that, or more close results, and Vela is the one that's been playing really good as well. So because that team, brings some good players around him.
All right, so Gio's out right now. He's going to miss the Clásico Angelino, which is unfortunate for him. And now, do we think that he overdid it with his conditioning? Is that why he had this muscle strain?
You know what? The rumor was that I said the rumor about Jonah saying that they were a package deal.
Uh-huh.
So I forgot. The one part of that was that Gio had not followed Osorio's training regime. He left him a list of things he needed to do.
Gave him some homework.
Gave him some homework, man. He didn't do it.
Wow.
Hey, maybe if he had done it, he wouldn't have gotten injured, John.
So
Just saying.
What is the source of this rumor? Can you divulge your sources?
I can't, John. We don't reveal sources. No, I will reveal it. This was on record. They have someone called the Marksman. He does like a bi-weekly or weekly column, and he's usually, I'll say, so far from what I read of him, he's been about 75% on track.
Who has a better track record, him or Sanka?
No, Sanka's still the main guy right there, man. If you can read his stuff, and a lot of guys, if you have access to it, if you get Cancha Mural, that's a paid subscription, or Reforma.
Yeah, but he posts he posts his own columns on Twitter. He takes a snapshot of it and posts it on Twitter.
Yeah, if you could get those, that guy's, I'll give him 85%. He's got a lot of good. You used to think it was just him, but I think it's a group of people that work. I used to think it was just one dude, but I think it's a group.
Yeah, you think Sanka's like Hydra?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
No, you're probably right.
I was telling some people at Chivas Forum about, if you want some of the more breaking news with Chivas stuff, you read the Zancadilla stuff, and he trolls a lot on Twitter, so they were thinking I was kidding, they're thinking get info from a troll, but yeah, he does troll, but when you
his trolling is outstanding.
But he has a lot of breaking, he does a lot of the.
Yeah, well, all three of the Zancadillas, although the one for the DF isn't nearly as strong. I'm sorry, CDMX.
CDMX.
Isn't as strong as Sanka or even Zancadilla Norteño. Zancadilla Norte. He's pretty good too. He's got some. He's got some good stuff. So yes or no, Joel, Giovanni World Cup on the team yesterday?
Oh, definitely, man.
Yeah.
Too many sponsorships there, man.
The Denny's sponsorship is too much of a cross to bear. The Grand Slam breakfast will be the breakfast of choice for the Mexican national team with Giovanni on the squad. Is Dan Dan
still here?
Dan, yes or no, Giovanni on the squad?
Yes, absolutely.
Chiquis, yes or no, Giovanni on the squad?
I'm gonna say no.
Chiqui says no. I'm gonna say yes. I think that provided he gets healthy, there is that uncertainty because he's going to be out. So he has April and May to get it together. I do think he'll be on the team. I think he's one of those guys. Maybe that is one of those 18, 19 guys. I think that that is on solid footing. So we'll see what ultimately ends up happening. So what does one look for in a friendly like this, Dan? What do you want to see, Max? Do you want to see individual effort? Do you want to see good combination passing, people that understand each other? What is it that you're looking for that in this friendly right before the World Cup?
Two things, I guess. You want to see definitely a collective effort of an ability to, because like you mentioned earlier, this team's probably known for playing good defensively, and that's been Mexico's Achilles heel. So I'm hoping to see some good play, basically some good understanding, and at least find players that best understand each other, and to hopefully maybe find that the best mix to going into that first game.
Okay. That's a very
Un buen
comprehensive way of
entendimiento.
looking at it. Who do you specifically want to see have a good match?
Pizarro.
Okay.
Because I'm very much I'm definitely have my doubts about him, but I see a lot of potential there, and I really hope that he's able to vibe with the other players.
It's frustrating, isn't it? Because I mean, you see a guy who just is just loaded with talent, but just doesn't seem to be able to put it all together. It's like he's like a mishmash. It's like he's going everywhere. It's like, dude, just get it together a little bit. Yeah.
To a lesser extent, similar to Jurgen Damm, he that last touch just can't seem to make the right decision.
I was gonna be mean this week, but I didn't do it. I was gonna post a picture of say Jurgen Damm, the blah blah blah. I forget what I was gonna say, and then do a picture of a walking stick. I thought that was just too mean. Though I decided not to do it.
Yeah, it's best not.
Yeah,
let's be nice, man.
Yeah, I didn't think that would have been appropriate. Joel, what do you if you were to watch the match, Joel? Because I'm not sure if you will or not. I'm not sure what your schedule is going to be tomorrow. What would you be looking for, and what would you be hopeful for, and who do you want to excel tomorrow?
Well, let me see. But mainly individual performances. The same. I'm on the Chucky bandwagon. I think if there's one player that could have an impact or make a difference, I think he's the main one to, be able to carry the team.
Okay, so you want to see a. So you're not a trophy chaser. You're a Chucky chaser.
Well, I want him to prove me wrong because I'm in the Pecho Frio camp.
Oh, okay. That's right.
I said he's disappeared in the big games.
But by that definition, then this game can prove nothing.
No, I know, but at least he could, get his mojo going.
Okay.
Well, that will hopefully be the case. He had a nice long, relaxing for about a month break because he was having to sit out a 4-game suspension for a red card that he got in the Eredivisie. So Chiquis, I'll ask you the same question. What is it that you're looking for these friendlies, and who specifically do you want to see do well?
I'm looking for individual performances. Except on the defense, I'd like to see some cohesion. If there's I think the defense always needs to show cohesion, even though there might be different players with Osorio's rotations and all that. I say individual performance because with his rotations, you don't know if these players are going to be playing with each other in the actual World Cup. So I would like to see Tecatito come back and do real well, and to remove all doubts of whatever rumors or stuff that's been going around about him not going. Because if he doesn't go, I'm almost to the point where I don't even care, or I want them to go 3 and out.
For if who doesn't go?
Tecatito doesn't go to the World Cup.
So you're man crushing on Tecatito? Is it is it his tattoo? Of the red lipstick?
Yeah, that kiss tattoo is sort of awesome. No, man, it's just his play. He's like the best player on the team by far. So the mere fact that I hear that he might not be going is just the blowing my mind of all the dumb things that I've heard Osorio say or rumors. So. Okay.
Well, he hasn't played for the national team that much in the past, almost a year and a half because, for whatever reason. So as far as expecting something to see with so what I do want to see is that I don't want to see Mexico's back line be exposed as badly as it has been. There needs to be, if they're going to press as high as they do, which they do all the time, and they have to be able to be cognizant of not passing the ball loosely. So I'm going to be definitely looking for that. Just keep it tight when you have the ball that high. And as you guys are saying, I mean, there's some individual guys I want to see. I want to see Chicharito at least get one. Hopefully get a couple. Because Mexico needs to have a striker that needs to kind of get hot. And I think that this kind of reminds me of, I think it was even in LA when they played Ecuador, and Chicharito probably scored the best goal he ever scored for the national team. Of course, happens in a friendly, where he just lit one out from about 25 yards into the corner of the goal, like in the first 10 minutes of the game, and he had a really the face he had after he scored, was kind of like when Fernando. Just a great look for him, and it kind of like sparked him, and then he ended up having a pretty decent year after that. So I would love to see that. That is what I'm hoping to see over these next couple of friendlies. Let's see. I don't know if
hey John, I'm gonna be having to drop off the line, dude. But good show, everybody. And sorry I gotta drop off.
No, it's
good luck on the job.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
Thanks, man.
As always, thanks for coming on.
Peace out, Dad.
All right. See you guys later.
All right.
What's up?
¿Qué onda, compas?
Juan Uribe, are you joining us from Santa Clara?
Absolutely, sir. I'm here in Santa Clara. You know what? I'm actually staying in the same hotel as the Iceland team. They're staying at the Hilton.
Is that? Dang, you must be making some serious coin if our patronato sprung for the Hilton.
Oh, absolutely, man. That guacamole, it goes far. But I have to be honest. I made it like a family trip, so I was able to break a couple piggy banks.
Sure, I understand.
Yeah,
not a problem. So, were you able to go to any of the press conferences today, Juan?
You know what? I couldn't go, man. My son, he's like, he's college bound. I mean, he's in high school age, so we did some tours. We got in we got our room around 11, had a quick breakfast, and we drove out to some of the schools out here, and we did a tour, and so we did the tour. I went and got my press pass, and we went to a tour, and man, I was tired, man. I don't know what's going on, but so I I'm sorry, guys. I kind of dropped the ball on that part. That I might get a walk fine, right?
Well, I'll tell you what's going to happen. Camarayas is.
Thank you, sir. May I have another? Thank you, sir. May I have another?
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. So no, it's well, it'll be interesting to see what will happen tomorrow. And are you going to be in the press box tomorrow then?
I plan to be, man, but I think there's a family trip here that's going to need my attention. So I think I'll probably roll up to the game around 5. At least that's a plan right now. And the other thing is Soccer United dropped the ball, and they didn't send me the freaking schedule. I told those guys when I got my press pass. So I'm kind of just eyeballing everything based on the previous schedules that they've done.
Oh yeah. So you didn't get a schedule? You not in your email at all?
Yeah, no, they didn't send it to me. And I think for Chicago, when I did the Chicago game, they send me the schedule the day of the game.
Right.
I don't know. Maybe too. I'm not high on the totem pole. Maybe Jolie probably, like when we did Vegas with Jolie, I think he might have gotten the schedule like way before I did.
Interesting. Well, it's funny because it's funny you mention it because the last time I actually didn't get my approval notification, but I just went online to see what it was. So you could actually go online and actually look for the schedule too. So.
Oh, I did. I'm a dummy.
Schedule, man. I got the schedule right here.
Oh, for real?
The timeline for Wait, what time does it start?
Well, the game starts at 7, right?
It's open 5:30, kickoff 7. Bourbon Steak and Bourbon Pub 4:30.
Bourbon Steak.
I guess that's some activities and stuff, but
because they always put like the sponsored stuff in there, like Pavel Pardo would be with CantinaMX at this corner of the stadium. So there's always people making appearances.
I'm gonna check out they got like a fan zone set up too. I'm gonna check that out. That's always fun. The last times I've done it, I've run into like Chapulín Colorado, La Chilindrina, those characters. That's always fun.
I ran into them in Vancouver, oddly enough, on the train on the way down to the game.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it was good to see them. I was very happy. I asked them who they were rooting for. They didn't think it was funny. And I asked them in Spanish, they looked at me like, who is this guy? But anyway.
¿Quién es este payaso?
¿Quién es este güey? So the game tomorrow, Profe, I'm glad that you're on because we did want to ask you your opinion. Now you obviously, since you're going to watch the game a little differently because you have a different eye for things. You're more on the technical side. So are there things that you're hoping you see in the evolution of the Juan Carlos Osorio proceso of which you are a big fan?
Yeah, I mean, look, John, I know that he's considered an overthinker, but I think part of the reason he kind of qualified in CONCACAF, pretty much breezed through it is that he studies the opponent no matter how what their profile is, if they're ranked 500 in the FIFA ranking. I don't even know if it goes that low, but just to say. So what I'm really expecting is the players have been with him now. It's been 2-3 years?
2.5 years. 2.5 years. Almost 3.
2.5 years. So what actually there's a question I want to ask him because I'm hoping that I get called and I want to ask him that playing Iceland so many times, is there a team in the group stage that Iceland resembles in his point of view? And I'm hoping he kind of get him into. I don't think he gets asked that kind of questions that much as far as the tactics and all that. But
somebody asked that question to Vasco when in Houston in 2010. Yeah. And says, well, ¿por qué le van a jugar contra Paraguay? Jugado contra Paraguay tantas veces. And Vasco looked at him and said, ¿en qué continente está Paraguay? En Sudamérica. ¿Y Uruguay en qué continente está? En Sudamérica. Entonces tú dime, ¿por qué crees que estamos jugando contra Paraguay? And then he said, y mira, acabamos de jugar contra Angola. ¿En qué continente está Angola? So it was really rude to the guy. It's like, so
he ripped him a new one, huh?
Yeah.
I think it's just because these guys like, but you know what? I mean, Vasco could have been BSing because I mean, does Angola resemble South Africa in the way they play? I mean, yeah, they're neighbors. That's like saying, hey, you're gonna play Mexico because you play the U.S.
Right.
But of course, Vasco has a reputation for asking like that sometimes, huh?
Yeah. So did you see Iceland in the Euro or any of their qualifying matches? Have you? Is that one of the teams that you study meticulously when you watch games online?
No, actually, I don't study them meticulously at all. I study the more popular teams. Like I studied, Man City, Sevilla a lot when Sampoli was there. Those teams that But I mean, I did watch some of Iceland. I should have watched them more because obviously they kind of like I was telling my son, we're in the elevator with some of the Iceland players, and I was telling to him in Spanish, Spanglish, that hey, these guys they're the real deal. I go they're the real deal. They knocked out they beat England in the Euro, and I think the players kind of heard me, that I was talking about them, but I didn't want to be, bothering them or whatever. But maybe I'll hit them up tomorrow.
How old's your son?
15, I think. 15, 16.
Yeah. So did you give me esos mamones le ganaron a los pinches ingleses, fíjate.
Hey, ¿cómo ves, cabrón?
No, that's it's funny you say that because when I went to the game out in LA last year, the hotel I was staying at, actually the Croatian national team was staying at our at the same hotel, and if I'm not mistaken, they've like a couple of the Croatian bigwigs were having a drink at the table across from where Juan and I were enjoying a round.
Nice.
So, yeah, it was. So I guess I'll ask a question. So are you expecting anything from Mexico? I mean, is there anything specifically you want to see, like you're hoping to see?
I'm hoping they can shut down the counter, and I'm hoping to see a little bit more speed on the flanks, on the outside backs, because that's what that's basically what Germany when they played Germany, that's basically how they got burned. They killed who was it? I forgot who was on the left now. It wasn't Alani. Was it Hector Moreno that was playing left back that game?
Probably. I know that he made a couple of really just terrible plays that cost Mexico. Like the first 3 minutes of the game, he pushes up and then kicks a ball. He's inside the midfield stripe, and he kicks the ball. It makes a terrible pass right to a German, who then spring on the counter, and it was game. I mean, the minute it started happening, it was game over. It's like, don't. It's going to be a hard game enough just playing them. Don't give them the ball. Don't put them in a position to just kill you. Exactly. See, it made everybody sick. So that's interesting. So you want them to protect against the counter, and now do you want them to be fast offensively on the flanks or defensively on the flanks, or both?
Mexico.
Yeah.
I like the offense. Attack with speed down the flanks, and then kind of bring the ball back in the middle to, switch the point of attack so you open up the defense. Because they gotta exploit it, because if he's gotta find a way to involve the fullbacks, even though he's using defensive minded fullbacks, he's gotta be able to bring them into the fold. And I don't know if you talked about Chivas, Jan, but
we didn't speak any Chivas talk at all tonight. It was verboten. Oh. We put a moratorium on Chivas talk tonight.
No Jolie, huh?
He was under penalty of mute if he even brought the team up.
Oh wow!
Yeah, he was not actually. Are you kidding? Of course we're at Chivas, but go ahead.
So, because I the last game that of Chivas that I watched, which was, because I had it on tape. I think it was the Tigres game, and what was interesting to me in that game is that Cisneros, normally a winger, he's played as a right back. I guess there's an injury to the normal right back,
right?
And so he usually, and it's something like usually in a 4-3-3 or any type of like a 3-forward system, or even 2 forward, or you will see the fullbacks like overlap on the outside a lot. And like, for example, at Manchester City, that's kind of what the plan was with their fullbacks, but then they had their new signing, Mendy, get injured big time. And so Pep Guardiola, what he did is now he started going to using his fullbacks more as interiores. So what he would do is he'd end up with sometimes with a back line of 3, the defensive midfielder kind of drops in to provide cover, and splits the center backs a little bit, and then the fullbacks, they end up like center mids, and I saw that in Chivas game where Cisneros and Cisneros mostly would appear very centrally, not hugging the the touchline that much, not overlapping, more providing like cover on the inside, and then your wingers providing the width, Brizuela, or whoever was up front. I can't remember now anymore, but I noticed that specifically, and so I'm just wondering if if Osorio is gonna adapt that, because I know he's a big, like, Guardiola. He's in that school of the thought of development of playing a certain way. So I'm wondering if he's gonna attempt something like that.
How is it that you could ask you about the national team and you go on like a beautifully worded 5-minute eloquent discussion about Chivas?
No, because they're similar. They're similar coaches in the way they view the game. Obviously, Osorio is a lot more polished. He's a little bit more he gives you a better in product, I think, and he just has more experience, I think, than Almeida, and he's been successful with it too.
I've been curious about Osorio's setup and what he's done over the past 3 years. I see the way the guy is. He's and again, this is going to be the sunshine pumper talking to me, but he's so meticulous in everything he does. I mean, even the something as simple as the travel. I mean, and before it used to be the Mexican players would have to fly to Mexico City, right? Have their little concentración there in Mexico City, and then fly to, in this case, San Jose, and not more travel. So what they just went straight to San Jose, and so and you can fly. I'm guessing it's much easier for guys in Europe, to fly directly to San Francisco, or I don't know. I'm sure they're not in San Jose, but definitely San Francisco. And than it is to fly directly to Mexico City from almost so he simplified that. Of course, it would have probably been much easier if they would have flown to the East Coast first, but whatever. And then of course they're going to play in Dallas, so they have again, everybody's going to have pretty much direct flights back to London or Madrid or wherever it is that they're going back to Europe. And then just also in the whole rotaciones and putting players out of position, it almost seems to me like this is all part of this this gigantic master plan that he's putting players, so that if in a moment of truth, this guy, Carlos Vela, let's say, played the left mid for a couple of games. I desperately need to play less left mid in this game because of suspensions or whatever it is. So that's where I'm going to put him. I have to have him on the field. That's where I'm going to put him. And so he's just putting players in where they're comfortable in situations, if it ever comes up, or maybe he's just crazy. So those are the two things I'm waiting. Is he so meticulous in the way that he's planning everything out and just gonna unleash this crazy good team where they adapt to whatever situation is in front of them, or is he just that's just the way he is and there's really no plan? It's like, well, I like to move things around and put players where I think they might be best. So that's what I'm waiting.
Check this out, John. In the Chicago game, when he used kind of the B team players,
mm-hmm.
you had Gio on the right wing, like kind of like as a right forward. It was a 4-3-3. You had Orbelín Pineda as the right center mid, and then you had on the right. Gosh, man, I wish I remember the name now. I think it was Gallardo. Don't quote me on the person exactly. So what would you end up happening is Gio would drop into the usual zone that behind the forwards, like as a center mid,
where he plays where he is most comfortable.
Yeah, I guess. There would be like a flow, and then Pineda would drop into like the right back, and then you would have the more physical actual right back pushing and attacking they played Panama the Panama defense line, and so it was. I mean, that's a way to play the 4-3-3 where your fullback, your center mid, and your winger all from the same side. They will rotate positions like football total,
mm-hmm.
And it creates space. It confuses the defense. It creates mismatches, And then they did it on the left too with in the second half with Eric Gutierrez, Lozano, and I think the left back that day was what's his name, the usual left back. No, it wasn't Torres. I think it was Torrenilo or he uses Reyes too, right? A lot.
Right. So you think that Osorio is going to use rotaciones in the match?
He did it in that game, but then in the rest of the games that I've seen, he hasn't done it anymore. So I don't know if that was just so you'll do you'll do that like to create mismatches or to create passing lanes, space for a through ball or something, because like the Panama, the players, they're just bigger, right? They're stronger, they're bigger guys.
Mm-hmm.
They outweigh the Mexico players maybe 10, 15 pounds. So I wonder if it was just a specific use for that game, because I can't remember him doing it in any other games. Obviously it's easier to catch these things when you're live, because when you're at the stadium, because you got a view of everybody.
Right, you can see all 22 guys.
Yeah, you
it
see all the
definitely
guys.
helps. Well, that's very interesting that you bring that out. I think that I have. I can't tell you specifically what games, but there are games where you do see him definitely rotate players in and out of zones. So again, it's just I'm just spitballing out here because to see if what could certainly or possibly happen or not.
Oh, you're talking about
remember
Giovanni switched from right to left all the time.
Say that again, Beto.
He's talking about the field. Like Giovanni gets switched from right to left.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, that's pretty typical. You like if you have Gio on the right and you have Lozano on the left, or Tecatito. Even for example at in the youth ages, depending how you approach it, that's something pretty common.
Remember, Giovanni did not get called up for the Copa America.
The Centenario?
Yeah.
All right.
And he didn't find out until he was doing a public appearance with Denny's. And he gets the call or he was doing an interview with Grant Wall on DirecTV or on an XM radio. And they announced it like while he was on the air, and he was like, "Oh, yeah." So just bad timing there for Giovanni when that happened. Again, another brilliant PR move by all parties involved to let that happen.
You think it's a federation? Because it's a big. Is it the federation's job to reach out to him, or the managers, or because he's a big, he's one of Mexico's big names. But maybe performance-wise, he's not he's not an Hector Moreno, where he's a freaking stalwart. You
right.
Need Hector Moreno in there.
Yeah, no, it's he's not been the consistent player, and it was brought up earlier in the podcast that if Giovanni goes, it'll be because he might someone else might decide that it would be best for him to be on the squad. So.
Le están poniendo los jugadores.
Yeah, but and then we asked everybody if yes or no if he goes, and then 3 of us said yes, and Chiqui said no.
Chiquis might be right. If I don't think Gio's injured. I think he's just out of shape.
How could he be out of shape? He said it was the best off season he ever had in his career. That came out of his mouth.
Then maybe he is injured, because when the LA Galaxy games, he comes out at the half, and
he comes out in the 70th minute. Did he? Can you over condition yourself, Prophet?
You can. Well, you can. You can train yourself to the point where you need like a rest. A long rest, because you're burnt out. But I don't think you can. I guess there's overtraining injuries.
Do you taper your kids before like a big tournament and make sure that they're in tip-top game shape?
No, we do. Yeah, we have a fitness program that we run and the training is kind of built around it, where you have your peaks and then your valleys. So going towards a tournament, you start, you go towards a peak. You want to be arriving at your best.
Right.
So definitely, there's a conditioning program you run, and I mean, for adults, it's the same way, right? But it's just the kids, they recover faster.
Now,
Obviously.
Joel did say that the rumor was, and he would not reveal his sources, that Giovanni did not follow the strict guidelines that were handed to him by Juan Carlos Osorio to as his off-season program to make sure that he is in tip-top shape for the World Cup. So that is the little bit of extra cancha news that we have that was provided to us from Joel.
I mean, that's a good assumption you can make. He's come out injured. He looks tired. He doesn't look involved in the game. He kind of, he doesn't give you the sprints. I mean, Jonathan, on the other hand, he looks more involved in the team. He's making plays. He's hustling. He
scored a goal.
Yeah, he scored a goal.
Of course, they didn't win the game, but he still scored a goal. Now let me ask you this, Profe. Now Joel denied being a part of the inner circle with the Los Santos brothers and Carlos Vela. Do you does your phone get lit up when it's time to go out and party with those guys?
But you know what? I think Jolie is part of the inner circle. I think he's he's the one that kind of finds them the girls and all these things.
Yeah, I know that we're just do a radio show, but I could hear his eyes shifting when he was saying, "No, I'm not a part of that." So
yeah, absolutely.
So, yeah, that.
I think so, because Jolie's right in the heart of the city, man. I think those guys they all probably live like West LA, Hollywood, Hollywood area. So that's not too far from Jolie. So I think he's then that's the party area. So
yeah,
Jolie's definitely showing them the town.
Well, Profe, you'll have to. I don't know if we're gonna get a chance to do a show tomorrow, but maybe we can next week instead of our regular Thursday show. Maybe we can have a special Taco Tuesday edition after the friendly. The Mexico plays at Jerry's place versus Croatia, and we can discuss both matches. I wish we could have gotten to some Liga MX talk tonight, but we kind of ran out of time. I know that there's a Clásico Joven coming up, and Chivas's winless streak at home was extended again with a 0-0 loss to Tigres. No, I'm sorry, not a loss. It was 0-0 draw to Tigres. Excuse me about that.
I think basically they're undefeated at home, right? I think they lost one game this season.
Yeah, but they're winless. The key word is winless at home.
Yeah, but I mean, they have a good undefeated streak. I mean, it's just glass. Is the glass half full, half empty? It's all perspective. It's how you want to feel about it. And I want to feel positive about it.
16th place.
That's fanboy talk, man. That's Chivas fanboy talk.
Yeah. No, dude, you can't. You got to be like. I mean, look, they're 16th place, but they're like 10 points from being in the Liga. So I mean, they're within striking distance. It's all how you want to feel about it. You want to feel like like you're crap, or you gotta. I mean, I'm a big follower of Phil Jackson, his philosophy, where you gotta visualize and mental, take things in stride. Zen master.
Yeah.
Don't get too high or get too low.
Don't get too high, then, man. If you're in last place, if you're in last place, then you're in last place. Don't say, "Oh, no, I'm not in last place. I'm in 16th or 18th place." It's all good. It's all good. We're in last place. We got it.
Yeah. So that reminds me of there. Now Pumas had a golden opportunity to break their awfulness, and they. I hate to bring it up, but what ended up happening was that
Y la Cruz Azuleó.
there's no other way to put it,
I was
Chiquis.
waiting for it. I was waiting for it, John.
Yeah. I didn't see it, but yeah, they
Ah.
gave up a tying goal in the 90th minute.
I was doing some work. Oh, I was doing the basketball game at the Urban Center, the NCAAs, and I was watching. I saw the penalty, so they did that. They actually played pretty well. The best they'd played in a good month. And they get the goal, and you're thinking, okay, fine. And then I was on a phone call, and I was on the phone call for like 20 minutes, and I said, let's see what happened. So I saw the score, and it said 1-1. I was like, okay, there was a draw. It happened because I missed like the last 25 minutes. And then I saw when they scored. I was like, you got to be kidding me! In 90 plus 4. Just terrible. Just absolutely terrible. And they're then in danger of not getting to at least 20 points with the way that they're playing right now. And it's just, for Pumas fans, it's miserable. And again, as I mentioned last week, they are, Pumas is the team that's going, thank God we're going to have to deal with promotion relegation these next 2 years, because we would be they would be at or very, very, very near the very bottom. So, yeah. And then again, like I mentioned, I'm going to be on the field. I'm very excited about this. And for the one of the what would we call these games? I guess tune-ups, friendlies that they're playing. That the teams are playing here in the States. I'm in San Antonio. It's going to be Cruz Azul and Monterrey. So I will be sure to give my full report on how that went.
When is that going to be?
That's on Sunday at 4 down in San Antonio at the
Toyota.
Yeah, and I'll be on the
Pumas played.
I'm the red hat
tonight. Tied them 3-3.
Oh, the U20 team?
No, Pumas, the B team or whatever. Lustiza scored. Everyone was there except the national team call-ups.
I had no idea they were even playing in San Antonio. I was clueless.
Yeah, last night, and I think
I was in San Antonio last. Well, I was working. I was at the Spurs game, but that's funny. I had no idea. Did you know that was even happening?
I only knew because I went on Reddit. Some guys were going. I found out yesterday.
Chivas is in there too, right? They're in Texas, or they played already?
I think
Chivas is not allowed to play in Texas. They were banned.
Somebody's playing in Houston. I don't know if it's Chivas. America's right now in San Diego, or they're going to San Diego to play.
Yeah, they're playing Cholos in San Diego. I thought Chivas was going to don't they always go to Fresno? Don't they always play in Fresno?
Yeah, they always. But I thought I saw something online that they were gonna be at in Texas somewhere.
No, sir.
Oh, okay. I have to double check because I was surprised by those friendlies.
No prohibidos. Chivas prohibidos in Texas.
Órale.
Actually, America, for that matter, was practically prohibido too for when they played. Remember, they played that friendly against Barcelona, and they go up 4-0, and like the second half substitutions they make are just a bunch of schlaps, guys you'll never hear of. And then the second half substitutions that Barcelona makes is like Xavi, Iniesta. Messi comes on like four these gigantic superstars, and they scored 4 goals in 20 minutes to tie the game.
Chivas did play in Texas. They played in Edinburgh.
Oh, in Edinburgh, really down in the valley
against Santos.
Wow, there you go.
I remember that game. They had Pipino Cuevas, Chelito Delgado. I mean, not Chelito. Gosh, can't remember his name now.
Salvador Cabañas.
Yeah, Cabañas, but there's another RG, an older one.
Who? Piojo Lopez?
That guy.
No, he went on the team at that point. That was way. This was like in 2007, 2008.
Oh no, I think he was still on there.
No, come on, dude. That was in the 90s.
That might have been like one of his last games, man. Because it was like the older, rundown version of him.
The cartucho completamente quemado.
Yep.
instead of the partial quemado that he was when he came.
Nah, he was a completo.
Well, regardless of the fact, it was just very funny. That's what ended up happening in that match. Well, Cambia, so you have a family event tomorrow.
Yeah.
Is it an important family event? Is it like you can't miss it under penalty of death?
I mean, because I'm the driver, man. I'm the I'm gonna because they were talking about Alcatraz, but we'll probably just drive.
Oh, so you're doing the full turista tomorrow. You don't have to go to like a courtroom or anything like that.
No.
or like a no, well, not the, I mean, or like a like a recital or something, something with that you just can't miss. So you're just gonna go to play turista.
Yeah, we'll just do the little turista so they get their money's worth, and then
is it safe for Southern Californians to drink the water up in Northern California?
You know what? I've been drinking bottled water, John. So, but
just
I
in case.
read that the Nestle, the Coca-Cola brand, that it's they made some mistakes and it's poisoned or something.
Mm-hmm. You should meet up with Elbow. Elbow's going to be at the game.
Oh yeah. I saw.
Codazo? Does he live in San Jose?
Yeah, he lives in
Santa Clara?
No, he lives up north by
Sacramento.
Like in Marin County or something. Oakland, Sacramento.
Not that far. Where's where Google and all them are at? He lives by there.
Oh, like Mountain View?
Yeah, Mountain View somewhere.
Okay. Milpitos. Didn't you do some work out in Milpitos, Chickies?
Yeah, that's where I went and saw him. We met up.
Yeah. Over in Milpitos. Milpitas. That's a great name.
Yeah.
There's a road, because I took the 5, and then you had to cut in on a small road. I think it's called Panoch Road.
Is Milpitos by Cien Vergas? Or is it closer to the Espingas? I'm not sure.
You still want to show me your cucumber?
Anyhow, okay. Well, so you have the fam. So how long a drive was that from you're in Long Beach? So that was like a 5-hour drive.
No, it was like total about 7 hours.
Dang.
So yeah, we drove about 5 hours. We stayed in some backcountry, little bit wet, motel, Best Western or whatever.
Right.
And then in the morning we finished our drive up.
Oh, so you split it up. You didn't do the whole thing at once.
No, I was just. I mean, I think I could have done it, but it was raining too hard. And,
well, if it was just you probably would have. Oh, because it was raining. That's right. Well, if it was just you, would you have done it?
Yeah, I think so, because I mean, I drank two energy drinks, and I couldn't. I was good,
Right. No, I mean, I did, and it never rains in California, so that must have been a.
Oh, dude, yeah, it was. And that's what I'm wondering. If it rains tomorrow, it could turn into an ugly game.
Is there rain on the schedule? Is there rain on the forecast tomorrow? Let's have a look.
It's been changing, man. It's not supposed to be, but
changing. What are you in the Panhandle?
Like, hey, man, 1 minute there's no rain, and then the next minute there's rain.
Yeah, I mean,
you can't predict this.
I was once spending the night in Amarillo, Texas, and I swear to God, the weather forecast in the 24 hours I was there changed like 15 times. It was insane. Let's see. It's clear right now. No, Friday, partly. It's going to be. I hope you brought a jacket. It's going to be chilly.
Oh yeah, absolutely, man. I'm ready.
Yeah. So well, good. It's going to be at Levi's. It is the site of La Boda Roja.
I know. I'm wondering if there's any
if there's a commemorative plaque.
That too. Jan, you know what? When you asked me about Mexico and about Osorio, I have a little conspiracy of my own there.
Oh, hang on a second, please. By all means, sir.
You know that game against Germany. Since we were talking about fullback, the fullback's getting burned. But in the back of my mind was the Germany game because that's really where the defense got exposed on the counter. And it was clearly visible the Germans took their foot off the gas, right?
Right.
Now, I think that maybe that was the German coach Joachim Low, his way of saying, you know what, we don't need to run up the score on Mexico. If we run up the score, this guy's gonna get fired, and they might bring in a more competent manager, that's gonna give us a hard game. So
but remember the World Cup groups hadn't been decided at that point, so
that's true. Yeah. Yeah.
But they absolutely did step off the gas, and they absolutely did step on the gas and scored like instantly scored.
Yeah, like
the minute they decided they wanted to score, they scored.
Yeah, so I think they said, hey, if there's a chance we run into this team again, let's make sure they have the same manager, that they have the same tactics, take our foot off the gas pedal, and easy money in the bag. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
So I think that's why they took their foot off the gas pedal. They didn't want to embarrass Osorio to the point where he gets fired.
In hopes that they see him again so that they can embarrass him again.
Yeah, and then that's where they're gonna embarrass him. They're just gonna let him rip,
I mean, I think that any Mexico fan who doesn't have that thought in their back of their mind are lying to us.
Yeah, huh? That's a worry, huh?
Sure. I mean, it's not like it hasn't happened before.
Yeah.
I mean, not just to Osorio's team, but to Mexico by Germany.
Yeah.
So, on that happy note, a good time for us to wrap it up here on the CantinaMX Podcast. We went another 2.5 hours tonight, so another great show. Great show. Thanks. We had a lot of really good participation tonight. It was a lot of fun. I'm glad you were able to call in, Profe. We were wondering and hoping that you were able to break away from your busy schedule to let us know what was up down in Santa Clara. So you're getting to the game at 5. So you're going to walk around. Is your family going to drop you off, or te vas a tener que ir por el Uber?
No, dude. This hotel, it's right in front of the Levi Stadium.
Oh, so you can walk.
Yeah, you can walk over there. So I'm hoping it's not raining because I'll just walk over there, go to the fan zone, get some quick talk to some fans and get some video.
Yeah, are you gonna have a couple of fresquecitas while you're in the fan zone?
Oh, you got it, man. You got it. Hopefully, the Pancho Villa army is out here. Maybe.
Yeah, you don't want to get made.
No.
That you're in the press. You have to make like if you're undercover, you have to like prove that you're not one of them. And and drink a beer.
I'll drink a beer. It doesn't matter. No. Well, I guess I don't know what's the etiquette there, John. You got to tell me. You're the
well, if you do what you're doing, and if you have that fresca, just put your pass in your pocket.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
You don't want to show up, and then also take some. Llévate unas mentas, güey.
Oh, okay, that's true.
Yeah, so that when you're when you're up in the bog, you don't smell like a.
Just spray on all your perfume, your cologne, and stuff.
That's right. Don't forget the copious amounts of cologne for the press box.
Yeah. So let them know I'm coming before I'm there.
That's right. That's
like
right.
A block away.
Yeah. No, it should. I'm glad. I was hoping that we would have some presence there. I knew that that was going to be tough for Joel to go, so I'm glad that you're able to make it. And I was hoping, Chiquis, that you're going to be able to go, but you should. Hopefully, they'll have a Texas swing before, like they usually do. So hopefully they'll have one before they.
I'm planning a trip to the Clásico Regio, but we'll see.
Oh.
Hey, Beto, when you went to Estadio Azteca, did they serve beer in the press room?
I didn't go as press there.
Oh, but because didn't you have a photographer thing going on?
No, that was here. That was here in Texas.
Oh, okay, I thought that was in Azteca. Been meaning to ask you.
No, that was just done that a couple times. Actually, the second Got some really nice photos from that. That's why I was hoping you'd be in Arlington, Chicky, so you could do that same thing. Because I mean, it's one thing to get a
Yeah, that was a bummer.
To get a photo of Henry Martin, but you didn't get a chance to get a couple of snaps of Chicharito. But
yeah, the big time players.
Yeah, exactly. All right, gentlemen. Well, so let's say goodnight for tonight's show. Thank everybody on the chat. Thanks to Sergio on the chat, and I know we had some other folks on the chat as well. Smooth Monkey, and again, thanks to you for listening. Whether you listen live or whether you download us from iTunes or the Google Play, we do appreciate y'all taking the time to listen to us here on the CantinaMX podcast. Now, we mentioned last week that we're going to have a contest, and as we mentioned that, we talked a little off the air, and I think that what we should do, Cheekies, is maybe in the in the next 2 or 3 weeks, we should maybe we should like drop some history stuff, and then have a quiz in a couple of weeks. Maybe drop some subtlety to see if people are listening. And then we can have a Mexican trivia quiz, Mexico World Cup trivia, and bring people on, and whoever can answer 5 questions. Maybe they're the ones that will run off with our Galaxy S8 active phone that is available for y'all through our good friends at Sprint. So hopefully we will get the ball rolling on that, and we'll be able to give that phone away to one of our lucky listeners. So be on the lookout for that. So again, my name is John Jagu. Thank you guys for joining us. Juan, thanks for hopping on.
You got it, John. Great talking to you guys.
Albert, as always, thanks for doing the our technical duties to get us up and running here on the podcast.
Yep, no problem.
And thank you, everybody, for listening. Again, my name is John Jagu for Daniel Preciado and Joel Aceves, Juan Uribe, and Albert Campa. This is John Jagu saying goodnight here in the CantinaMX podcast. Please be sure to catch us again next week, possibly on Tuesday night. We will let you guys know. And how would that happen? If you follow us on Twitter, we usually post some information on the podcast on that, and of course also on our page on Facebook. We will talk to you guys next week. For you folks that are in Santa Clara to go into the game, have a great time. For you folks that are going to go see Mexico play in Arlington, enjoy the game there as well. We'll talk about it next week. Thanks very much.